So guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be bringing you an early look at the Premier League team of the season. We're halfway through the Premier League campaign right now, and in this video today we're going to see what the Premier League team of the season could look like if the first half of the season is similar to the upcoming second half. I do this kind of video every year and it's always an interesting video to produce. It's also an interesting video to read comments on because, as you can imagine, I get all sorts of comments on these kinds of videos. For those who disagree with my picks, I challenge you to name a 23/24 man squad of players and have no one disagree with any of your picks. You can't do it. It's so freaking hard. You're never going to please everyone with these kind of videos. There's always going to be someone who disagrees with at least one of your picks. Anyway, before we get into things, let me just say, try not to skip through the players without listening to my reasons behind picking them, otherwise you might be a bit confused as to why X has been selected instead of Y. If you could leave a like on this video, that would be greatly appreciated. This kind of video does take a lot of time to produce due to a lot of research being needed for it. Also, these kind of videos are a headache to produce because it's really hard to only pick X amount of players, and it is kind of frustrating to have to leave certain players out. Obviously, I do want to hear from you guys, so make sure you're active in the comment section below. Let me know which players you think I've missed out, let me know who you would have included instead, and also let me know if you want me to produce this kind of video for other different leagues. Right then, let's get into things. Here is the Premier League table at the halfway point. Currently, Liverpool are top and are unbeaten at the current time. Do you think they can go the season unbeaten? Will Liverpool go on to win the league, or will Man City or Spurs catch up to them? And will Arsenal seal a top 4 spot? Let's talk about all of that in the comments section below. Now, it's worth remembering that normally in the team of the season that gets released by EA, the winning team normally has around 6 or 7 players selected, and normally teams outside of the top 4 or 5 only ever get 1 player in the Premier League team of the season if they're lucky. Admittedly, I've been a bit lenient with my selections as I've tried to accommodate for as many teams as possible, so bear that in mind when you see the players. Okay, let's begin. The 2 goalkeepers I've gone for are Liverpool's Alisson and Tottenham's Hugo Lloris. Now, I know right now people in the comments are absolutely spamming, Kieron, what about De Gea, what about Edison, what about Fabianski, what about Trippier? Don't worry, we're going to talk about them too, but first, let's talk about Alisson and Lloris. Let me explain the reason. And we'll start by talking about Alisson. Simply put, he's conceded the least goals of any goalkeeper this season. Liverpool have only conceded 7 times thus far. That is incredible. Now, I'm fully aware that Alisson has a good defence in front of him, but he's made some big saves throughout the season. He's got 12 clean sheets in 19 matches. That's 4 more than any other goalkeeper. Yep, I'm fully aware he's made 1 or 2 errors that have led to goals, but he's yet to concede more than 1 goal in a game. It's impossible to leave this guy out right now. The other goalkeeper I've opted for is Hugo Lloris. In 15 Premier League games, Lloris has only conceded 12 times and he's kept 7 clean sheets. He's also got the second best save rate behind Alisson in the league. That is pretty mad. Now, I'm fully aware that Trippier and Lucas Fabianski have been incredible for their respective sides, and maybe they will get selected. However, due to the nature of how team of the season works, I don't think Wolves or West Ham will get more than 1 player in the team of the season unless they finish in a ridiculously high spot. And as you'll see later in this video, I already have players from those clubs being represented, so that's why I haven't gone for Trippier or Lucas Fabianski. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about some defenders. Let's talk about the most obvious one, shall we? Virgil van Dijk. Now, I don't need to discuss this one in depth, as I'm sure everyone will agree that this guy has transformed Liverpool. He's arguably one of the best defenders in the world right now, and if the season ended today, he would 100% be in pretty much everyone's team of the seasons. That huge fee that Liverpool paid for him seems like an absolute bargain right now. So yeah, Van Dijk team season card. It's probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen. And with Liverpool's defensive record being so good, as you can imagine, I've opted for more than 1 Liverpool defender. Now, I could have gone for Trent Alexander-Arnold or Joe Gomez, but I've actually opted to go for Andy Robertson. I could have gone for any of them, to be honest, because they've all been class, but like I said, I've gone for Robertson. I've opted for him as I think he's a big difference maker for Liverpool. He offers them so much when going forward, and he's also very solid defensively. He's picked up a few assists so far this season, and he's also been really reliable when defending. He's made over 35 tackles, about 13 interceptions, and over 30 clearances in 17 Premier League games. So it's been a decent season thus far for him. But like I said, if not Robertson, it could have been Trent, it could have been Joe Gomez. They've all been brilliant. The third defender on this page is a Wolves player. It's Matt Doherty. Now, it has to be said, by the way, I don't know if it's Doherty or Doherty. I still don't know. Like, when I go on YouTube and search to see what commentators have pronounced this guy's name like, some say Doherty and some say Doherty, so apologies if I've got it wrong. Anyway, it has to be said, for a newly promoted side, Wolves are doing really well thus far in the Premier League, and if they keep this up, they 100% deserve to have a player or two in the upcoming team of the season. For me, one player has stood out more than any other for them, and it's this man, the Irish wingback. He's been key for Wolves in both defence and attack. He's been involved in 6 goals thus far, and he's been their star man on numerous occasions. On this next page, we've got some more defensive players. Let's start by talking about Leicester's Ricardo Pereira. Now, this guy's been used as both a right back and a right mid for the Foxes, and he's been pretty solid in both roles for them. He scored twice and he's set up a couple of goals for them as well, and he's also been man of the match for Leicester, I think 4 times out of 16 games, which is pretty damn good. He's been really good as of late, but I could have included some other Leicester players like Harry Maguire and James Maddison, but instead I've opted for a player who I think is underrated, Ricardo Pereira. In the middle of the page is Watford's Jose Holebas. The left back has scored 3 times this season, and he's also picked up 5 assists for the Hornets. Watford obviously had a fantastic start to the season. They then had a bit of a bad patch, but recently they've been pretty good. Jose Holebas has definitely been their standout player in my opinion. The final defender on this page is Man City's Laporte. For me, him and Van Dijk have been the best centre-backs in the Premier League this season. Laporte plays his role incredibly well, and he's been a key part of Man City's back line. He is a perfect example of a ball-playing defender. And yeah, he's a solid centre-back, he's good defensively, and he's pretty good going forward as well. He's an excellent passer of the ball. Continuing with the theme of defensively minded players, we have Man City's Fernandinho, Arsenal's Lucas Torreira, and Chelsea's Cesar Azpilicueta. Fernandinho is one of them players who just keeps the side ticking. He's the glue in Man City's team. He's one of them players who, when they are playing, you probably won't notice him too much, but when he's not there, you'll notice there is a void. This guy is incredibly underrated, and he's been consistently brilliant for Man City this season when playing. In the middle of the page is Lucas Torreira. Simply put, the guy has changed Arsenal for the better. They've needed a tenacious defensive midfielder for a while, and now they've got one. When he plays, he covers defensively and he gets the team moving forward. He's a literal game changer for them. He's been a key part of their side this year, and he's allowed players like Xhaka to show their true quality this season. The last player on this page is Azpilicueta. Now, after a few seasons playing as a centre-back for Chelsea, he's now playing back in a full-back role, and he's been very solid there this season. Chelsea have got a great defensive record, and it makes sense to include at least one of their defensive players in a Team of the Season video. Alonso and David Luiz have been good, but for me, Azpilicueta has been the most solid defensively. There's a reason he's one of the few players in the league who have played every single minute of every single game so far. He's consistently solid for the Blues. Okay, from here on out, we're only going to be talking about attacking players, which is something I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to seeing. West Ham are having an alright season. They've been pretty good as of late. They've had a couple of standout players, like the previously mentioned Fabianski. Balbuena's been solid for them, and Nautovic and Snodgrass have also been really good too. But with his 8 goals and 2 assists this season, as well as countless man of the match displays, it's Felipe Anderson who has been the Hammers star man, and he is the most likely to get a Team of the Season card thus far, in my opinion. Bournemouth currently sit in 12th, and as of late they've not been in the best run of form, but 2 players have stood out for them this year, Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser. Now, I would have liked to have included both of them in this video, but I could only choose one, so I went with Ryan Fraser. But I would completely understand if someone disagreed and thought Wilson instead. Wilson scored 8 times and got 5 assists this season, and Ryan Fraser scored 4 times and got 8 assists this season. I've opted for Fraser over Wilson as he's got the second most assists in the Premier League so far. The third and final player on this page is, just a random Sergio Aguero. Aguero has scored 8 times and he's also got 5 assists thus far this season. 13 goals he's directly contributed to. Man City have scored 51 goals in the Premier League thus far, so, if the team of the season was to come out tomorrow, I would expect to see plenty of Manchester City attackers. On the next page, we've got some pretty interesting looking cards. Now, I needed to select a player from Everton because they've had a couple of standout players. They've got the likes of Digne and Richarlison, but instead of picking one of them two, I've actually opted for Sigurdsson as I feel like he's had a huge impact on Everton's season thus far. Now, Richarlison has scored 9 times from striker for Everton, but Sigurdsson has scored 8 times and got 3 assists from midfield for them, so that's why I've opted for him over Richarlison. Digne has been class, but I just couldn't make room for him in the defence. The next player we're going to talk about is Martial. Now, I know some people won't be happy about this one, but let me explain. I'm fully aware Man United have been poor this season so far, and I'm confident most United fans will admit that. Now Jose's gone, they are looking better, but I'm judging them on the first 19 games. Due to their league position, I do have to pick a Man United player, and for me, Martial has been the most consistent one. He's also their Premier League top scorer with 8 goals, which is a good return for a player who's only made 10 starts, which begs the question, why didn't Mourinho start him more often? Anyway, on the end of the page we have Christian Eriksen. The guy is incredibly consistent. He's regularly either scoring or setting up goals for Tottenham, and with 3 goals and 7 assists thus far in the Premier League, it's hard to leave him out. So we arrive on the penultimate page, and on this slide we have 3 very good potential looking team of the season cards. The attackers are pretty easy to explain why they've been selected, so let's begin. Mo Salah is one of the Premier League's top scorers. He's scored 12 times and he's also got 6 assists thus far. He's been brilliant for Liverpool and was an easy selection for this video. Heung-min Son is another attacker who's got a really good goal return. He scored 7 times and picked up 3 assists in just 14 Premier League games. He's actually only started in 9 of them. So yeah, pretty good season thus far for him. Admittedly, the Heung-min Son selection is a bit debatable, but I'm going to go for it nonetheless. One pick that isn't debatable is Raheem Sterling. This guy has scored 9 times and he's also set up 6 more, which means he's had 15 direct goal involvements from 15 starts in the Premier League. He's been top class for Man City this season, and like Salah, it was an easy selection. On the final page, we have Harry Kane, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Eden Hazard. Harry Kane has scored 12 times and he's got 3 assists. Aubameyang is the Premier League top goal scorer with 13 goals. He's also got 3 assists thus far this season. And Eden Hazard has scored 10 goals and got 9 assists. All 3 of these have been fantastic for their clubs this season, and all 3 were easy to pick for this video, and I don't think anyone will disagree with any of them. So those are the 23 players I have gone for. Now I'm fully aware I've missed out some arguably deserving players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Digne, Wan-Bissaka, Lucas Fabianski, maybe a Shaqiri, even a James Milner. But I do have a 23-man limit, and like I've said a few times, I've tried to accommodate as many teams into this as I possibly can. Last season's Premier League team of the season only featured players from 6 different teams. In this video, I featured players from more than 10 different teams. Obviously, this isn't a proper team of the season prediction because, the season's only half complete. It's more of a fun little video showcasing some potential team of the season cards that we could get in a few months' time. Anyway, we're coming towards the end of the video now, so if you could leave a like on this video, that would be greatly appreciated. In the comments below, let me know which 23 players you'd have as your Premier League team of the season so far. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.